Welcome back to the afternoon session, dear participants. I really want to inform you that thank you so much for your cooperation. And like we had earlier sessions, we are going to have the afternoon session in a similar fashion. So we will now have the third session. So the third session's speaker is Dr. Amarish Dubey. Dubey. So I invite Dr. Amarish Dubey to the present session to give his valuable talk. But before I call upon him to the session, I would like to have a few words of introduction about him. Dr. Amarish Dubey is presently working as a postdoctoral fellow in Gemtech's laboratory, National Institute of Arts and Textiles Industries, ENSAIT, France. He was a BTech graduate from UP Technical University, Lucknow, India, MTech from IIT BHU Varanasi, India, and PhD from IIT Kanpur, India. And talking about his experience, he's got more than 10 years of teaching experience, at the same time research and administrative experience at various universities, including 3 years of research and teaching experience abroad. So the countries are France and Taiwan. Dr. Amarish Dubey has nearly 12 high reputed journal publications. He presented and published 11 papers in national and international conferences. Also, he has 7 book chapters on his credit. He has a great research background in the field of sustainable energy technologies, charge storage devices, both battery and supercapacitors, energy harvesting, nanomaterials, eco-friendly energy product design, rural and sustainable development. So, in these areas, with these major topics, he contributed to the research. And now, today, he is going to deliver a lecture on sustainable and eco-friendly energy storage and harvesting devices from earth-abundant materials. I now request Dr. Amarish Dubey to take over the session, and the time is to you, sir, now. Yes, sir.
Can I?
Yes, sir, please, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sudipti. It was very nice introduction for me. Yes, of course, currently it's time of, lunch. I know in India, but I know after lunch, it is very tough to attend any session. But even though it's a part and parcel, and let me try to, put a positive side and positive parts, and so that you all can enjoy, you can benefit by this one. But for here in France, it is approximately 10 o'clock, so it's a morning. It's a starting of the job. So for me, it is good to go. So let me start with my presentation. With my PPT, it is better to So can you Professor Sudipti, can you give me the access for sharing the PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, can you? Hariprasad, sir? Sir, you are on mute. Hariprasad, sir, you are on mute. Yes. Sir. You can share. Sir, hold on. Yes, he's going to. Yes, he's going to enable the.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I can share now.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Now you all can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, no, no. As of now,
Not
we cannot.
okay.
No. Yes,
Let
now
me.
we can see.
Now you
Yes,
can.
now we.
Okay.
Yes, we
That's
can.
fine. That's fine.
Uh,
That's fine. Okay. So yes, as Professor was saying about my topic. So yes, this is I think this is it would be very whatever we can see that is not like everything which is easily available or locally available, that's for our concern. And the second and thing, whatever we are going to make like energy and Taiwan University is very high ranked top 50 university. And just in PhD, I was worked as assistant professor, also senior professor for JK Lakshmipat University. And prior to that, and Kanpur, Manjul, of Varanasi, and I'm also guest here in Let me go further. Let me go further. Here we all know that very place you can see everywhere art, design, and culture. So everywhere you can see this system in France. To move from Hyderabad to Paris, not too far, but yeah, far, like approximately 7,500 kilometers. So you can see in the center, this is the old building of MDS. We can see it's a part of on set. In short, we say on for Ecole National Superior des Arts, and it is started from 1881. So that is why it's very very old and reputed university, one of the topmost university of here. And it's tourist destination. Paris among the third. And if you see everywhere in the France, you see the art and system is sketching. A lot of people you can see they are doing the wall paintings there, so they are very very different. Even if you read some news, it is like that. The fashion start from here. It is like that. The slogan is says, and this France is one of the first country you can say. Or this is the first country who is like like four. This is a country which is having the Nobel Prize. Very Yes, currently I'm in onset as I told you, and this is a building which called it Gymitex Laboratory, and this is mentioned to science. It's a French word mission to science, but yeah, it's a meaning of it's a where the science is working. Science is taking place. So it is Gymitex Laboratory. You can see this is how broad and how very well maintain this one. You can see this is where we can also perform the design and machining and also chemistry and other things also there. Then it is containing a lot of research projects, like for example user interface design of car interiors, especially for electrochromic materials, electrochromic devices. So that is why they are very known for the electrochromic devices. Health monitoring system is the second most the priority, and we are also working for the sustainable energy and harvesting, and for especially for urban and rural design. So my current research is a little bit different as I'm going to present right now, but yes, it is very well mixed. So my current work is on the side of electrochromic display, especially for car interior. Current generation, current era is for the driverless car. Like everywhere you can see the automation it's taking place. So here we are working for one car, that is PSA car group, and you must be knowing there are few cars you can also find in India, like you must seen Citroen, Opel. These cars you can see, but they are having a lot of cars for PSA group. This is Peugeot, DS Autonomous, Vauxhall. These are high-end cars, and what they want fully automated. Like for example, there is no driver, even though the car is going to drive you and take you to a particular destination. So the people are working for that, and we are working on this research currently. And my work is on the side of car interior to make a display board, how it should look like, and that should working on the car, especially for electrochromic display. And we call it, the project name is Lighting Interior Textile for Autonomous Vehicle. And we are having a lot of collaboration, and especially for my side we are having the collaboration with Kuraray Japan, University of Manchester UK, ULC of France, where I am also taking some guest lectures or adjunct faculty. I'm there, funded by French government it is, and PSA group is the main partner of this project. And we are having a lot of other, like which are taking care of some part of parcel of this project, like PSA group, EFI, lighting, brochure technology. So it's a very big project, and sooner we can see the result also. Let me show you a quick small result what it is, and then I'll move to my presentation. So this is, just see, this is a single patch. What is happening here? I'm just providing 2-volt supply, and you can see the change of color. This is dark blue, from gray to dark blue. It's a monochromatic color you can see right now. And now let me show you one more. This is 4 patch. You can see this is 4 patch, and what I'm going to just provide 2-volt supply, and what it is happening, it is changing the color from gray to dark blue. And again minus 2-volt supply, it is going to defeat the color. So you can see what is the meaning of electrochromic. Electrochromics means when chromic means a change of color, when you're going to provide some power supply, it means electro, so it is going to change the color, electrochromic. So yes, you can see the change of color, you can see here. So there's a lot of application of this one. You can do the camouflage, you can for military purpose and for autonomous vehicle, a lot of things you can see here in future and everything. Let me tell you, the important part is that it's not very good that we are showing the electrochromic effect, no, but the important thing is that everything is going on the textile fabric. You can see it's a textile, it's a simple textile. So just think, if everything is going to display or work on the textile, how much flexible it would be. So currently we are not this one, we are up to here where we are going to mix with optical fiber and this electrochromic on textile. So you can see the effect of this one. So yes, and in future we can see also the especially for display, computer and other display also with this electrochromic effect. So yes, it is going on with us. So now come to the topic. So basically the topic is from here to green energy. It is actually if you're saying sustainable, eco-friendly, it means green energy we're talking about. So if you come to this mind that what is green energy, so we have to first look on the side of nature. Nature is everywhere and it is providing and generating electricity and everything, and it is utilizing in a very proper way. Just see chlorophyll in the plants. again, it's a converting from solar energy to its energy. It's a living energy. And similarly for our body, it's a mitochondria. It's also working for energy storage. So that is why we have to shift towards like how nature is working. Like it's a mimicking of nature, and it is nature is, let me tell you, is very best. Nice, not it's not nice would not be a good word. It's the best to adopt to fulfill the things. So let me show you something more, some basic things, and then we'll jump to further. So there are few charge storage devices, energy storage devices, or although it is more like, if you say the mechanical energy, a lot of chemical, a lot of electrochemical, a lot of things. But broadly, I'm saying here this four. So first one is capacitor. It's a store energy in the form of electric field. Battery, it's a store in terms of oxidation, redox reaction, electrochemical reaction process. Fuel cell, it's a chemical reaction, and then it can store the energy. And supercapacitors, ultra capacitors, is a basically work on the double layer capacitance effect, and sometimes a redox effect too. So what are the differences for these things? Let me show you the quick summary in terms of power energy density. That is important for us. So basically, if you see the fuel cell requires continuous fuel. For example, in hydrogen, generally hydrogen, it is required hydrogen basically with a normal air or oxygen. Then it is going to generate some energy. So actually it contains energy. It is having highest energy density. It means it can run for long, but it requires fuel for continuous purpose. If it is having the continuous fuel, it is going to provide a continuous or long terms of energy density. So that is why energy density of the fuel cell is very high. If you say conventional capacitors, like if you charge it, it's charged very quickly with a fraction of a second, and we are going to discharge. It's going to discharge in a burst. Like for example, it's going to provide you whatever it has charged, it is going to provide abrupt. So that is why the power density is very high for conventional capacitors. In between these two, there are two things. There's conventional battery, that is more on the side of fuel cell, so it contains high energy density, less power density. It means you can run with the long run, you can run with long time. But the supercapacitor is having the good energy density and commendable power density too, and it can beat in future also. Maybe if we tweak something, we can perform this thing like it's with a battery, like battery per plus a supercapacitor effect too. So that is why very important. If you summarize it, the battery is having different range, but volt in for supercapacitor is 2.5 to 5 volt. The important thing for the cycle life, the battery is not having very good cycle life. If you see for mobile and other things, maybe within 1 year or 2 years, you can see this drain off. But for supercapacitor, it's very important. The cycle life is very high, sometimes in terms of some in terms of million too. And even if you see the calendar life is also very high. The battery life is very low, but calendar life for supercapacitor is very high. Similarly, power density is high. Yes, it's currently energy density of the battery is high, but in fact we can moderate it also. So in terms of efficiency, supercapacitor is very much efficient. You can think about 99 and 99.99% it is. So, but although a lot of things I told you, but what is the problem if you say about the supercapacitor, not about the energy, about the battery and other things? In the current market, you see a lot of problems are there. What is the problems? They are sometimes very toxic and contains biodegradable, non-biodegradable product. Costly, they are very costly, and it's not unstable. It's unstable, purely unstable, highly reactive, and sometimes you see it's a leaking too. So can we get some better solution for this one? Can we think on this other part too? So let me figure out how we do basically this material characterization, this forming of device, and how we do. So what is a process to make a stable electrochromic stable a device, like especially for I'm not going to differentiate between battery and supercapacitor. Let's say word charge storage device or energy storage device, and how we start and how we finish the making a device. So from beginning, what we do a material search, and if you are going to think for eco-friendly and sustainable material, so that is very important. You have to search sustainable material. And then if you see that this is the sustainable material, is it sustainable material or not? You have to perform material characterization. You have to realize with the device, and after material characterization, if we find that yes, material characterization is very fine for, especially for making a charge storage device, storability is very high, porosity is very high, a lot of these words are there, so you can calculate, and then you initially make a design, right? Like yes, this way or that way you are making, and then you perform the electrochemical testing, like for example cyclic voltammetry, charge discharge, or EIs. A lot of things are there you have to do, and then finally you implement these devices into functional environment, like the environment where you can test it. So it's a functional testing, and after functional testing you check that it is stable or not. So basically these are the few steps we follow from initial of material search to end of the stability checking. So among them, I feel the foremost important thing is the sustainable material search. That is foremost important. Let me tell you. So what are the important thing we feel that while we see the efficient charge storage device? So especially for materials, we think should be non-toxic, eco-friendly. That is our prime motto, and low cost. Low cost means if you use some very sophisticated materials, like if you do synthesize a very tough process, and very different kind of materials, the cost is very high. Can we think a material which is having locally available? So the same thing, abundance of material. If the material is very abundant, most probably it is having low cost. It should biocompatible. Like suppose uh, sometimes people are touching it, any device. If it is going to harm your body, so for current, maybe not for long time, but currently if it is harming, so maybe for example if you are going to use phosphoric acid current with high concentration, so it may harm your body for current, but in low concentration for longer time it does not, because it contains in your body too. Phosphoric acid, you can think, like if you go for biology, you can see this is also in your body. So same thing, it should be having the material, whatever you are searching should be having storage capability in built process, high porosity. If it is like available in earth, abundant amount, so is it extractable? Or if it is not, is it possible to easily synthesize this material? So these are the parameters which we feel that material should have for becoming a charge storage device. So if you think sustainable abundant material search, so what you recall in your mind? You think maybe biochar carbon, because if you are charring it, maybe organic materials are there, you're charring it, so maybe you can get a carbon with some added advantage. Sometimes you also think like maybe sulfide materials, inorganic sulfide material, because you can find a lot of ores, and in this ores you can find this inorganic sulfide material. Maybe oxide material, inorganic oxide material, it's reactive, you think, but even though it is going to work, and some other also. So a lot of things, if you see in the around and you find a lot of materials, a lot of things are there. But what is our plan? What we have to do? That is very important. So let me show you something which you see around. Like if you see around, you can see a lot of crops residues, lot of waste crops, lots of waste crop residues, lot of fibers which are absolutely waste. For example, or sometimes it is not waste, very economical. For example, if you say cocoon fiber, or say coir, or say coconut husk, what is happening with the coconut husk? Coconut husk is like sometimes the people are using for some making some mat, but still it is not having that potential which we can provide. Like corn silk, it means, say, like for example you use a corn, but upper part, or corn husk or corn silk, we are not going to use a waste. Human hair, it's a fiber basically, and what we are going to do, we are not going to we will just go to barber shop and they cut it, and then it's a waste. Especially, and let me tell you about the jute are we are the highest jute producer in the world, but still we are getting that much quality, that much like benefit to the farmers, and we can get something good from this one. So yes, that is fiber based, which are abundant material in especially in terms of India and developing countries. If you think on the other side, we are very rich with the ores, like for example cerium oxide, molybdenum oxide, a lot of materials are there, and iron pyrite. A lot of ores are mines are with us with the iron pyrite. And let me tell you the truth also. And this iron pyrite is very much abundant in Dennis silt. If you see the gray silt, that is having a high amount of this iron pyrite. Can we utilize? Yes, we can. Let me show you some example how we can utilize and how we can make it like sustainable and eco-friendly. And why I'm saying sustainable, just see the stability also for especially for these materials and making charge by if you are going to make the charge storage device by these materials, just see the stability too. So let me little bit not I cannot cover everything, but let me cover few things. Like for example, iron pyrite. Let me cover cerium oxide, and this is jute and cocoon. So let me show you some basic things. Let me start with the very basic, which is very much abundant. Let me start with the jute. So it is jute. So jute in India, if you think, like 85% of the jute is nearby the Ganga deltas, and we are the largest jute producer. But again, the problem is that even though we are the largest jute producer, after that, the Bangladesh is there, and again, the Bangladesh was a part of India in few like years back. So you can think how much we are rich in terms but again, foreign exchange is very less, very less. You can see 3,000 million per annum. It's not at all enough because we are the largest one, and the price of jute is, if you see in the international market, it's very less, 0.3. Even if you go for a coffee, let me tell you, in Europe, so you at least, like if you throw it price so it should be €1. It is the least we can think of. And the dollar is having lower value than the euro right now. And just see the price of jute. Jute is $0.3 per kilogram. So how cheaper it is, just think for that. And can we utilize this jute? Yes, we can think. Why? Because jute is having these things. If you go for biochar process, biochar means making carbon, nothing else. If you char it, it's a carbon, nothing else. So if you do biochar process, jute is abundant, as we know. I have seen this effect also. So that's why I'm saying it may produce nanomaterials, cost effective. You can produce this biochar carbon very low temperature process. And again, jute, so it's a non-toxic, and sustainable too. If we are talking about the carbon, it's sustainable too at the same time. Let me show you how we are going to make this jute as a sustainable material. Let me show you how you perform the biochar of jute. Nothing but take a jute small, if you cut in small pieces and perform the biochar in inert atmosphere. So it's a process, like if you start purging by 15 minutes and then you go for heating at the rate of 5 degrees centigrade per minute, and then you see up to 400 degrees centigrade you increase, and for 2 hours you put just this temperature for continuous in a flow, and then you cool it. So till 25 degrees centigrade you provide basically you provide the inert atmosphere, then you can take it out. You just cleaning it by soft slate process. Maybe you can take benzene and other materials for cleaning, acetone also for the cleaning, and then you can get this material. Let me show you. This is basically the same thing. So let me show you how you can get and how temperature you can achieve. So this is nothing but 300, 400, or 500 degrees centigrade temperature if you're trying to biochar. So what you're going to see, this is just see the same image of jute. This is a jute, intact jute at 10 micrometer. You see, if you biochar it 300 degrees centigrade, you find some whole kind of things are here. You can see in the D image. And if you see the image of D, this one at 500 degrees centigrade, still it is having some hollow kind of shape, but it should it's look like string. But at 400 degrees centigrade, you see that it is having very nice at 2 micrometer range. Let me show you. It is having very nice and clean hollow tubes. Don't you remind that this is showing the carbon nanotube kind of thing, or carbon microtube kind of thing? Yes, it is showing. Let's see, this is the thing. So what the people has done, and we have also done, we have performed cyclic voltammetry analysis, and we have seen at 300, 400, 500 degrees centigrade this biochar carbon, and we have seen cyclic voltammetry analysis. Just see at 400 degrees centigrade how well shaped, how rectangular shape kind of this cyclic voltammetry analysis is coming. And we have also investigated at making device. I'll tell you how we are going to make a device, but yes, and how the people are making device. But just see how proper shape it is coming at device level also. And if you see different scan rate, even the scan rate is repeating. Like if you see, and this is also following the same condition, like there is increasing of a specific capacitance, a slower scan rate. It's following the same thing. Just see from this shape to this shape. So this is transition. Let me tell you one very important part here. As I told you, this is a $0.3 per kg, or maybe 30 rupees per kg per kilogram in the market, the cost of jute. Now let me tell you what is the cost of this carbon nanotube or micro tube in the current market. See, here in currently I have purchased because of some research purpose, and it was approximately 500 euro per gram. I'm not saying about a kilogram. It's a 500 euro per gram. I have purchased this carbon nanotube. So just see how much value added we are from starting from here to here. And it's a graphitic carbon. We can investigate by XRD and other things, FTIR for the same. And what we have done, we have again taken very as I told you, phosphoric acid is you can find in your body too. So phosphoric acid is biocompatible, eco-friendly material, and at lower concentration. So you can see if you use a phosphoric acid, and these are, you can see electrolytes, they all are biocompatible, and you see the very nice shape, and it is showing approximately 300 farad per gram of specific capacitance. And we have made a device too. I'll show you how I have made, but let me tell you what is the efficiency we can get. See, just specific capacitance, it is reaching up to 300 farad per gram. So how efficient this material is. And then we have also seen the capacitance retention. Just see 10,000 cycles we have run, and it is almost 99%. And even the current density is almost same. It means there is no degradable. There is no degradation in the material, electrode material. So basically, this is very efficient material. And let me show you how the device is looking like, and how the people are making, and we have made it. So this is nothing but a 2 device. Here I'm going to show you. It's nothing but a 2 device, and I'm going to charge it. Let me show you the charging. Here I'm going to charge it. Here, just see, these are the 2 devices. It is charging right now, and for a couple of seconds of charging, what is going to be? I'm now going to turn off. See, it has. I'm going to turn off the charging, and see how efficient it is. I'm going to connect it with the LED. Just see with the LED. Let me show you the proper image of LED. Yes, this way. You see how efficient it is going to glow with the LED. Now let me show you about let me show you about fan, DC fan running with the three devices. These are the devices. These you can see, these are the devices. These are the devices. Same times I'm charging, and now I'm discharging it. Here you can see, and now these are devices, 1, 2, 3 small devices, and you can see here the fan is running. So how efficient it is with the jute. So I think someone mic is open. Can you please? Yes. Thank you. So yes, so can we think in this way? This biochar jute device can work good for domestic appliances. Can we conclude this one? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. For sure, we can. So now, what are the material we have taken? We have taken jute, carbon jute as electrode material. We have taken S3PO4, phosphoric acid in gel form, again biocompatible material. And we have seen some electrode current collector, that is graphite sheet. I'll let you know further also in next few slides. That is graphite sheet. So again, that is again biocompatible and robust and sustainable. So all these materials are sustainable, eco-friendly, and if you see the effect of the lifetime and the things, they were the best. So let me go with some more. We are talking about Indian silk. Lot of Indian silk are there. Mulberry silk, Tasar silk, Muga silk, Eri silk. Just see how silk looking like. Mulberry, Tasar, Muga, Eri silk. Like just see. And how the cocoon look like. Eri, Muga, Tasar, and Mulberry. Let me tell you, this Anthera mylitta Tasar is very, it's because of texture, the people are not liking too much for making fiber or fabric industries. They are not going to make a saris of or very less amount of utilization of this fiber. So, and almost very cheap. Again, it's very cheap. Even though mulberry is costly, you can find, but not up to the cost which we expect. But again, Muga and Eri. But the Tasar is, because of texture and hardness, not so costly. And sometimes the waste, like whatever the waste you are going to get, that is not for use. Let me show the statistics and the use of this one. We are going to use this silk for textile and clothing, medical, status and cosmetic hand cares. And in the current research, if you see the bulletproof vest we are making, and we are making also the parachute lightweight. And for bioelectric devices, we are also trying to, we all researchers are trying to do this one. Let me show you what is the current Indian silk statistics. So the total silk production is this much, you can see 23,000, 24,000 ton. And especially Tasar silk, you say, that is approximately 1700 ton. And the waste Tasar, that is important here, that is approximately 500 ton. And if you see the cocoon, how much covering area it is having, approximately, I think if you see, more than 50%, 60-70%, India is covered by these silk. Just see, and the Tasar is the prominent all across the India. You just see in the Indian map. So can we do something? Yes, we can do. So let me show you all these materials, especially if you think the organic material, this kind of material, which is, for example, cocoon or something else, you can see. Just excuse me. Yeah, sorry. So yes, so let me tell you. So basically, these materials are having some very good thing. Like it is having some nitrogen, always containing nitrogen because of materials. So amino acids are there, a lot of things. So that is why nitrogens are there. So if you see, can we utilize this nitrogen for our better purpose? So this is life cycle we are showing for, I'm showing for for your work. Like for example, it is the plant and there's a caterpillar which eat, and then it's from a cocoon surrounding, and then we take a cocoon and we make this, we take out the fibers and we utilize it. So let me show you something more, how we are going to utilize. Again, by biochar process, nothing but we are going to make a carbon. What kind of carbon we are going to make, that is important. This is the same process till here. So you can see here till here 1, 2, 3, 4, the same as we perform in a jute. Now by Humber's method, modified Humber's method, what we have done, we perform the oxidation and reduction process, and we take out some material, and that is reduced graphene oxide. Hope this word is sounding good here. Reduce graphene oxide means graphene. So from here cocoon to graphene, we are going to get graphene, and that is again nitrogen doped graphene because it contains nitrogen. This here, it has, the comparison has been done. This is Tasar, here it is semi-maize, and here is mulberry and the thread and the jute also. Jute you can see. So what we have seen here, you can see this is the image. You can see this is a complete graphene you can find, and very nice graphene with especially with the nitrogen doping in between. So basically, what is graphene? Graphene is nothing but the graphite with a single layer of graphite, you can say, single of carbon sheet. So it's like that. This is the one basically sheet. This is a single carbon sheet, and the second one in between there is a nitrogen dop. So this nitrogen dop, that's between two layers, this nitrogen doping is going to increase the specific capacitance or storage capability with other things, like the people are utilizing for superconducting purpose also. But if you think about a charge storage purpose, you think if you are having graphene, again the graphene is one of the best tool. But if you are having the nitrogen in between these two layers, so it's a miracle for you. It's a very cost-effective material. So these are the credential. If you see XRD, RAM, and FTR, you can see these are having the peaks of, it shows the graphitic carbon peaks are there. And let me tell you, as we know, the cost of cocoon. We all know the cost of cocoon. If you go and you want to purchase one, if you take 1 rupees and you want to purchase the cocoon, you can get 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 4. And sometimes when the people are extracting out the fibers from them, even the waste are there, and they are you're not going to utilize any waste, that are waste and you have to garbage it, you dumped it somewhere. So I'm saying we are going to utilize the same garbage or waste cocoons or intact cocoon for making charge storage device. So whatever we have done this way, and we have to make the similar charge storage device as we are made for jute. And you see, we have done comparison also. Tassar, mulberry, reduced graphene oxide. Let's do the same process for jute burn also. You know, even though jute burn is having very high, specific capacitance, but let's see here. If you see, jute is very less as compared to Tassar RGO. Why Tassar nitrogen depth Tassar? Because it contains graphene with nitrogen doping. Just see how efficient it is, the coverage area of this one. So we have done with the different electrolyte also. So you can see this blue is like S3PO4 is again prominent. So it is for S3PO4, and this silk is performing well. And we have performed different scanned characteristics. You can see now specific capacitance moved up to 400. And let me tell you, it's not 400 because when I was the people was making, it's not still we have reached the what should I say, the prominent point of this material. We can reach up to 1000 farad per gram, let me assure you. So here you can see the charge stars. It is almost mirror symmetrical, and even see till 10,000 cycle. Just see 10,000. It is still maintaining 99%. And the cycle, you can say charge style cycle is a repetitive, very repetitive. So again, let me tell you how efficient it is. And here I am the person who is making this charge storage device and explaining the work. So these are two devices, the similar one, and with the same S3PO4 gel and graphite sheet and electrode. And now what is happening? After charging, these are the two. After 10 minutes of charging, initial charging was very little bit higher amount. But again, when you charge it, what is going to happen? So let me show you, go quick to jump to further. After 10 minutes of charge, just see here. And what we have observed, for first charging was very high, 10 minutes. But even though if you 10 minutes of charging, you can run this LED for 30 minutes. And the next charging was just 1 minute, and you can run this LED for 30 minutes. So that is why very efficient. Now, let me tell you, don't you think this cocoon, which is having the cost of approximately, if you go into kg form, again the same as jute cost. But now we are going to make a nitrogen doped graphene, and the cost of nitrogen doped graphene, if you Google it, you can find 800 euro per gram. So just see, from 30 rupees kg to 800 euro per gram means 800 euro means approximately 80,000 rupees. 80,000 rupees for a gram. Just see how much value added we have done. And now let me tell about a charge storage device. Charge storage device is very efficient. What in terms of sustainable? 10,000 times 99%, and we have to go more beyond, maybe 1 lakh and 2 lakh. And now what we have used again carbon, we have used graphite sheet, we have used phosphoric acid with gel and low concentration of phosphoric acid. Just think how much efficient it is. So this is the basically fiber, and we have a lot of other fibers too. And let me, but here lack of time, I'm just showing the two. Now let me jump to the one more material. This is iron pyrite. We see this iron pyrite is, everyone is saying, what is iron pyrite? Why? If you go to artificial jewelry, you go to the market, and the texture is like gold. This is nothing but iron pyrite. So just think how, and the cost is very low. Let me tell you, even though people thinking that we are making artificial jewelry and we are earning a lot, but let me tell you, it's very less. Why? Because this iron pyrite is a material which is having the same miracle as the graphene is having. So let me tell you some basic things. What is it? Is very natural occurring. You can find in a lot of mines and other things. Semiconductor gap, just see 0.95 electron volt. How efficient, how good semiconductor it is. Electron density, just see, is very high. It is having the storage capability, and it is having this phenomena of, if you want to use it, can be used as a biostimulant agent for agriculture purpose. It's a known material for photovoltaic, and the people are also using for cathode material lithium-ion batteries. But even though we haven't reached to the potential. Let me show you where you can find this iron pyrite in abundance. Let me show you. This is Rio Tinto River, Spain. You can see this is the people are afraid. Why? Because the color. If they people say that it is acidic river, but yes, these are you can see this the color goldish color. It is basically a uh, iron pyrite. Let me show you one more in India. uh, First, Barkunga Pirate Mine, South Australia. International, you see, these are the iron pyrite. These are the iron pyrite. Let me show you about India too. This is a Pakur mine in Jharkhand. You can see these are the lot of mines you can find in India too. And let me surprise you now. This is Gandhanala of Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. You can see, and this gray silt is nothing but a iron pyrite. This gray silt is nothing but iron pyrite. So just think how much abundant it is. Yeah, the matter is like that, how we can extract out and how we can utilize. Yes, but on the other side, if it is extractable, okay, we can use and we have to work for this one. But is it possible to easily synthesize? It is. You can see, let me show you very quick. A lot of people have done this work also. But let me show you how easy it is. We can perform it at 100 degrees centigrade. There is a two-step, nothing but a mixing of sodium hydroxide, which has H2S, and the mixing of sulfur. You can make it polysulfide in the H2S environment. And this polysulfide, you can utilize this polysulfide here with in the presence of buffer, sodium acetate and acetic buffer, and you can make it with the use of FeCl3 with polysulfide in an inert atmosphere. You can find this one a very efficient iron sulfide you can find, and the temperature was just 100 degrees centigrade. That's one example. You can make it. You can have different kind of this reaction process, but it is a very easy process. And a very positive thing is that you can polymerize it also. Like if you are having iron pyrite FeS2, you can polymerize. Like here I have polymerized with the polyaniline, and you can add the advantage also of polyaniline too with. And see, if you standalone use the polyaniline or other materials, polymers materials, and you are using iron pyrite, maybe both are not having that much level of efficient capability. But if you add it, you polymerize it, you can get a different way. So here what we have performed the electrochemical testing. You can see here the electrochemical testing for FeS2 and how it's just see the flowery kind of shape. You can see the flowery kind of shape you can see. And let me go with the how we make all kind of charger storage device, how the people are making also, but maybe I'm a little bit different. So let me tell you, like we have made the same thing with the jute, we have made the same thing with the this graphene, nitrogen graphene, and now iron pyrite, and therefore the same these kind of material, these kind of process of making charge storage device we have followed. So nothing but very easy. This is a graphite sheet. Here it is graphite sheet, and in the graphite sheet, whatever electrode I am having, electrode material, I'm going to spray it. Here you can see spray it with the help of some solvent. And now what is going to happen? After that, we are going to put some electrolyte on the top. You can see in the top, and then we sandwich it. This semi-permeable membrane, and we if you want, you can use this nothing but tissue paper here. You just see the sandwich. I sandwiched it, and now the shape is like this one. And if you want, you can see flexible also, and we have made this flexible device too. Just see the flexibility, and this is the comparison of the device. You can see we have connected the three here, and with the 10 rupees coin you can compare. So now what we have done, we have also do the same characterization as we have done for the further earlier also. We have seen that. Let's see the comparison. So what we have done with the iron pyrite, see this is the iron pyrite, black one, FeS2 polyaniline, this is a polyaniline, and this is FeS2Pa CV. Just see how although it is having a redox effect, yes, it is having a redox effect, but just see how rectangular shape it is containing. It's showing that it is going for the perfect supercapacitors. Just see perfect supercapacitor shapes here. And even though if you see the FeS2 iron pyrite for making a charges device, it is working very fine. But if you mix it with the polyaniline, with the polymers, so the efficiency is way more higher. So it's having this capability of increasing the capacitance factor also. Just see here how capacitive it is. It got the specific capacitance more than 350 farad per gram, and even you can see the stability. Stability is 95% for even 10,000 of ram. Now, if you're talking about an iron pyrite kind of material, or maybe if you say sulfide kind of material, you always think stability part. Maybe you run 10,000 cycles. So first time you think we have run 10,000 cycles, it is good, but sometimes it is not, because maybe in days, like for example calendar days, it is not so good. So what we have done, we have tested, vigorously tested. What we have done, we have taken FeS2, we put the same FeS2 in day 2 for different days, for day 2, day 4, day 7, and similarly FeS2PA also for day 2, day 4, day 7, and we have done the XRD. That is there any change? Is there any change if you put the till 7 days? If till 7 days you put your material in the same environment, there must be some change. If you can. If you observe, then maybe it is not stable. So what you can see, all XRDs are almost similar. Even 7 days XRD is almost similar. And for FeS2PA, so just think a stability part. And we have done the same thing, same material we have taken, and we have performed SEM also. So you can see till day 7, this is FeS2PA and this is FeS2. So this is still it is maintaining flowery contour shape, here flowery contour shape. So yes, till 7 days it was perfectly stable. And then we have also tested the cyclic voltammeter analysis till 2 days material, till 4 days material, till 7 days material. Just see the shape is intact. And even we have tested after 7 days. What we have done, we have run the 10,000 cycle. Just see the shape is intact. So that's why I'm saying these are abundant material and they are having very perfect shape. Let me show you how this drainage silt kind of material is having the potential, like how it is efficient. Again, these are the two devices. These are the two devices, and I'm just charging it. It is the charging right now. It is charging for both charging, and now I'm going to connect in series. Just how just see how casually I'm trying it. Just casually, like removing and then putting with the hand and something like. Even though, just see the device effect. And the same thing for DC fan also. Just see, I'm just charging it with the 3 devices, and you just and now you are going to connect it. Just see the fan is working very fine. So overall, I'm saying again, this drainage silt, which is very abundant, still it is very fine, very efficient, and you can just you can utilize it in your way. What we have used, let me tell you again. I have used graphite sheet as a carbon collector. Electrode material, iron pyrite with some polymer, even polyene. That is not at all, if you go Google it, you can find it's not too much harmful. It's biocompatible. S3PO4 gel is again biocompatible. Tissue paper, it's a biocompatible. So everything is biocompatible and very sustainable. You can see like we have done very vigorous testing, even though it is very efficient and sustainable. So it is fulfilling till now the eco-friendliness, sustainability, biocompatibility. These are, and very cost effective. Just see, all the things are very cost effective. Let me show you one more example. Cerium oxide. Cerium oxide is, again, if you see the characteristics of cerium oxide, it's a biocompatible material. Why? Because we use this thing in a lot of materials, and especially for some treatments. So where you are going to use for commercial purpose, you are making mixed conductors, catalytic process, and polishing application. And innovative research is going on medical application, supercapacitors there people are also making, and for seed germination effect, like you can improve the agriculture yield also. So again, as we have followed in iron pyrite process, you can extract out from the ores also. The same thing you can extract out from the ore, but if you want to synthesize it, is easy or not? It is very easy. Just see, we have followed 2 processes of synthesis here. One is at 45 degrees centigrade and second is 75 degrees centigrade, and with the atmosphere of HMTA and the fructose. Just see, we when we synthesize it, what we receive, we have seen that we have performed we have performed all the characterization, TEM, XRD, and FTIR. You can say it is fulfilling the even HMTA based or fructose based, both are having the similar kind of structure. Yes, but yes, the fructose was having little bit hazy shape, or maybe you can say more kind of amorphous shape. So we have done also the all XPS analysis, parametrical RM analysis also, and we have performed. This is very important slide. Let me tell you again. If you see the what kind of electrolyte we are using all basically all biocompatible electrolyte. So you see Na2SO4, NaCl, KCl, K2SO4 we have used here, and we have performed the testing. Just see testing, and what we observe. See, Na2SO4 is the one of the best for both the case. Fructose, if you take fructose based serum oxide, or if you take the HMTA base. So Na2SO4 is having one more thing. You can increase the potential window also. That is very much important here. Let me tell you. Here you can see we have done. This is a part of HMTA, and this is sort of fructose. And what we have done, we have performed sorry, this is for HMT, and next slide is for fructose. And so you can see we have made device also. We have made electrode. For electrode characterization, this is device characterization. You can see we have done vigorous parameter. We have done vigorous testing, and with the increased potential window. This is -8 volt to 8 volt. You can see this is still the shape is intact, and it can reach up to 250 farad per gram of efficiency, and this is basically HMTA based serum oxide. And similarly we have done for fructose. Because of amorphous nature, it must be having some more porosity effect, and we have seen this is up to 350 farad per gram. And even the specific capacitance for charge discharge and for C both in case of very high. And if you do the comparison, you can find the fructose base, the material is very high efficient. And this is electrode CV and device. We just see electrode CV and device CV. So yes, and we have the cyclic voltammetry, and then we have performed charge discharge also. Charge discharge. You can see the charge discharge for -8 to 8 volt too. Just see -8 to 8 volt. Yeah, it is. Sometimes you can see the chase shape is some degradation, but still it can work. You can utilize up to for longer window too. Stability check. You can see it is maintaining 85% for fructose device. You can maintain your fructose, and the same experiment we have done till 17 days in Na2SO4 we have performed, but the shape was intact. It means till now. What I'm saying, in terms of day stability, it is very efficient. In terms of if you say long run, it is also 85%. And in terms of the material dipping in some certain condition, in Na2SO4 condition, just see, even device, even electrode, both are having the same, maintaining the same. So just think how much stable it is. And the similar you can see, this is also running performing basic device run. Yes, you see it is having three devices here. For LED, you can see it is very well running. And similarly for fan, with the 3 device, you can see here with the fan charging, and then I'm going to discharge it. It is charging now, discharging, and I'm going to connect it with the devices. Just see the fan is running. So it's a proof that this device is again very efficient, very well worked. So we can say there's again Syria. Although you can make a Syria by different process. Let me tell you, it's not a one process which I am going to show you. You can make it by different capping agent, and you can make a more prominent, much better than this device. So this is one of a very biocompatible material, earth abundant material, and you can utilize it for making charge to a device. You can, let me tell you one basic example. The people are making pacemaker, and they want that this pacemaker is going to work for heart for longer amount of time, and you want that this pacemaker have a very high life, So that is why what you think, you put some kind of material, some kind of battery, something there, so that it can work for long. Now let me tell you, just think on another way. This ceria is utilizing for the cell growth in medical treatment. Now, can we utilize S3PO4 cell, which is having in the body right now, and this fructose with this this pacemaker to generate the power to run this pacemaker? Can we think in this way? We can. That's a future research. Now, let me tell you about, let me just you. There are a lot of materials. I have told you only few. So here I told you about the four only: the silk, jute, FeS2, and cerium oxide. Just see in the Indian map how much it is covering. It is almost covering 50% of the total population. Total population. So can we say it's an Indonesian journey for making self-sustainable energy? We can think on this way. But let me tell you, it's only storage. Can we think for generating also? Yes, we can. That's why in my topic I have put it one more impactive part, that is harvesting. So here what people have done, and we have done also. Here you can see these are the cocoons, Tassar cocoon. Just see Tassar cocoon, and by some process, what we are going to generate electricity. Yes, just see LED is glowing. And here is the device structure. I'll explain, but let me show you the video. That's very important here. This is basically LED. And here what I'm going to do, I'm providing some vapor, and here the three devices I have made, and you can see the how much voltage it is going to generate. Let's see. Just starting, it's a very important to see in the start. Just see here, it is 2-volt power supply, it is generating, and this is LED, and here some vapor, approximately 60 degrees, 70 degrees vapor is coming out. These are the 1, 2, 3 devices which I have made, and I'm going to connect. Just see, the LED is glowing. It means it is generating prominent amount of current too. It's not only voltage, it's a prominent, and 2 volt is still it is maintaining. So just see, it is not going to take anything. So just have a look in this way, that in what is happening in the village, the people are making food and by using uplas and wood and other things. And what they do, they put burning an pot on the top, and generally the pot are open or maybe covered, partially covered, and a lot of vapor, waste vapors are coming. Can we think to have some kind of device so that we can cover it on the top and it can generate also electricity for that particular village? Just see how it is, how the shape is. There is nothing, the shape is very easy. You just take a graphite sheet or aluminum sheet as electrode, and what you are going to do, you are going to put this cocoon. Let me tell you, it is not only happening by the cocoon, no, it is happening by the corn hair, it is also happening by the jute, and this is also happening with the human hair. Yeah, but yes, the values are different, the potentials are different, but you can do it. So let me tell you how. You just put, there's a one sheet, that maybe that is aluminum sheet, or maybe that is graphite sheet, and the top, what you are going to do, you are going to put corn hair or jute or silk cocoon or human hair, and just take a wire and just you are going to bind it with number of turns, and this simple arrangement you are going to expose in a vapor atmosphere. Just see here, this way. And you can add simple more too, like for example, if you want to add jute with the corn hair, you can add it. So maybe you can increase the value or decrease the value. So let me show you how pipelined it is and how we can make it. Just see here, the simple which I am going to show you, nothing but these are the devices in the pan, and this pan cover. You can see there's a pan cover, and there's in the process of pipeline of some patent applications. So I cannot go beyond that. I'll restrict myself in a certain way. So this, you can see this is a device, small devices, the similar which I told you is a cover of that, and while you're cooking you just cover it, and after covering, what you do, you add one more thing. This is charge storage device. So here you are going to generate, and here you are going to store it. There's a black one storing, and after that, after storing, you can utilize for any time. Just see the this is the electricity bulb, so you can utilize it whenever you want. So that is important. If you mix it, like the thing is that you are going to mix it with generation and storage, and the perfect combination. Can we think in the future goal like self-sustained village? Here you can generate electricity by solar cell, maybe by waste heat power, maybe by some other process, maybe by hydropower, maybe by some other wind power, and you can utilize iron, pyrite, cerium oxide, other things, and you can utilize these waste materials, corn hair, other things, jute or cocoons, and you can generate electricity and you can sustain. At the same time, we have done a lot of research on this part also, that this cocoon storage, cocoon is having also one power to store the data. You can store like by the process of magnetization and demagnetization. So it's a complete village where everything is sustainable. So I think this is, I think.
Yes, Dr. Amarish, can you just wind up in maybe 5
minutes? It's a finish. I just finished. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Okay.
It's a finished. So yes, from this is from my side. It's a live slide. So everything is from the gyan or knowledge. Jyotisam api tat jyotisam parmuchyate gyanam gyam gyanagamyam hri sarvas vishishtam. From my side, thank you. And I'm open for a question.
Thank you, Dr. Amarish. That was a lucid and vivid presentation that would have certainly enlightened enlightened our participants. So now, thank you so much, Dr. Amarish Dubey, for your presentation. Right. So may I now invite some questions from the participants so that I can.
Hello, ma'am. I have some questions, ma'am.
Can you? Yes.
Chat box, maybe. Shall I ask directly, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Professor.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir. Actually, I have few questions, sir. Sir, you have shown some GCD profiles and CV for cerium oxide, no? So I have some doubt. So you have compared the CV with the scan rates, right? So the lower scan rate shows the maximized, lowest area, right? So we have to consider the lower area of the CV for the better capacitance, correct?
Yeah, lower scan rate. So yes, lower scan rate. We generally we do is like that, and it's a trend. It's a trend also. If it is not coming like this way, that the higher scan rate is showing the higher scan rate, higher specific capacitance. It means that your device is not so good. So we usually do at lower capacitance. Lower scan rate.
Scan rate, yes, sir, absolutely correct. So as the lower scan rate shows the lower area, so we are taking the calculation from the lower scan rate. But if you compare with the different electrolyte system, so you have shown the sodium sulfate or kind of electrolyte shows a bigger area. So it represents that is good for supercapacitor or some higher energy device.
Correct. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Sir, I have another question. One of the participants posted.
No, but excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
I haven't finished that one. I haven't finished.
Okay,
what was the question?
Sure.
What was the question? I was not able to understand the question. What was that? If it is question or just suggestion, I'm not getting it.
No, sir. Out actually. Whether how we. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Shall I?
Okay. Yeah. Please ask. Yes, Ajit.
Professor. Yes, Professor. Actually, I am asking the lowest we compare. The lower scan rate shows the lower area. Okay.
No, your voice is not clear. I'm sorry, Ajit.
Can you, if you can type it in the chat box, Mr.
Yeah. I'll post it, ma'am.
Maybe I'll be able to do it. Okay, sir.
Okay, no problem. I have also given my email ID. If you want, you can ask me through email too. I have no problem. I'll answer the question. Okay, and even my number is there. You can try with the WhatsApp or maybe international call too. Okay. No, hope you are getting me.
Sir, okay. Sir, there is another question in the chat box. The question reads like this. Can any material characteristics change when they put above the steam? Is there any material? Is there any material characteristic that change or else the question is not very clear. Like any material characteristics change when they put above the steam. I don't know if you can understand the question, but this is how it is written.
Yes. I got it. What
Okay,
he is
okay,
going
sir.
to, he is going to. Let me tell
Okay,
you.
sir.
Let me tell you. See, there's a lot of materials. For example, I'm saying chromic. In my first slide or maybe second, third slide, where I'm currently working on the electrochromics. So electrochromics means the chromic means a change of color. When you provide some electro means electron supply, maybe power supply. The same time, if you are going to do something chromic, means solvatochromic. So when you are going to change the concentration of the solvent, it is going to change. Temperature chromic means when you're going to provide the heat, it is going to change the color. Yes, you are correct. Maybe there are some materials. I cannot comment on exactly what are the materials, but yes, there are some materials when you are putting onto the steam. Maybe because of the temperature and because of this heat vapor, it may change some material characteristics. But I observed, and personally I have seen some other papers too, that these some very easy materials, maybe these fibers, some other fibers which are abundant, then that can work as an energy generator or maybe harvesting device for us. So that is why maybe we have to go with the some other characteristic or some other testing, that what are the changes happening for these materials or maybe some other materials. That is for the research we have to follow it. I think, hope you got it. If not, you can type also, you can ask also.
Yes. If anybody has any other question to make it, so if you can post it maybe in 1-2 minutes, I can forward this to sir, or else we can maybe we can call it a day. For yes, as we are almost like I think like it's already 3 o'clock. So, sir, thank you. That was very enlightening, and I think like it was a detailed and very, very lucid kind of like with a great, practical, pragmatic touch. Your presentation was. Thank you so much, sir, for delivering your lecture. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, thank you,
I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the sharing. Is it?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, participants, for your cooperation. Hope the session was useful and informative, and hope you would apply the rules and principles or the theoretical inputs that have been shared by all the experts and esteemed speakers for today's faculty development program. And for tomorrow, we are going to have a usual, the same session, but we'll start the session from 10 o'clock, 10 to 3 o'clock. So today we started around 9:30 or so. But for tomorrow, it's going to be as usual, according to the time that has been planned earlier. And today, we've already sent you some links regarding this AICT inaugural function that's going to be held maybe in 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe by 3 o'clock, the AICT, this inaugural function, starts. So those of you who are interested in participating and in attending that inaugural session can definitely go forward. And we have those links already sent to the WhatsApp group. So that's all for today. And thank you. And hope this takeaway will really benefit you and help you. Thank you.